tapa bata barishana edine jamine jagire shita tapa bata barishana edine jamine jagire विफल से विना कृपण दुर्जन विफल से विना कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुकल भलागिरे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे येदन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते के आचे परती तेरे येदन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते के आचे परती तेरे कमल दल जल जीवन तलमल कमल दल जल जीवन तलमल भजहु हरि पदनी तेरे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे भजहु रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरण रविंदरे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरहो ये भव सिंधुरे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, devotees, we can read the meaning. Anybody wants to read the meaning of this?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Bajao Remana song. Mataji, who has written this song, Mataji?
Govinda Dasa. It came, no? In the end, Govinda Dasa Bilashari. Written by Govinda Das.
Okay, Mataji. Home mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which makes one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons.
Okay, thank you. Anybody next? Anybody else wants to read? There are 4.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
My dear.
Okay. Sudha Mataji, go ahead, please. Then Shobha Mataji can read.
My dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hari Hari without any notice. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji's translation of verse 3. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons, and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Rohini Mataji. Please read.
Pranam Mataji. It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshiping him with flowers and incense and so forth, serving him as a friend, and completely offering the Lord one's very self. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Prabhu is yet to join. Okay, I'll share. It was shloka number 53, is it? Brahma Samhita.
Yes,
what was the
Mataji.
shloka?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, we can probably start reading. Then Prabhu should join by then. I'll just share it. Give me a minute, please. It's not sharing. Okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes, devotees can. Karpagavalli Mataji, do you want to read the shloka?
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Krishna, yes.
Brahma Samhita 5.53. Dharmotapa Papa Ishaya Srutra Tambasvami
Tapamsi.
Tamamsi Brahmadikita Pada Kava Adasya Jiva Yattatta Mandra Vivabhava Prakata Prabhava Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Translation, shall I read, Mataji?
No, Mataji, we'll give everybody a chance. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Swati Mataji, you want to read the translation? I mean the synonyms, I mean.
Yes, Mataji.
Dharma, virtue, Ata also, Papa Nichaya, all vices, Shrutaya, the Vedas, Tapamsi, finances, Brahmadi, beginning from Lord Brahma, Kita Pathaga, insects, Avadhyaya, down to Cha, the, and Jiva, Jivas, yet by whom, Datta, conferred, Matra, exclusively, Vibhava, by the power, Prakata, manifested, Prabhava, potencies, Govindam, Govinda, Adipurusham, the original person, Tam, him, Aham, I, Bhajami, worship. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Pramila Mataji, you want to read the translation, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation. I adore the primeval Lord
Translation
Govinda.
and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Yes.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta. Yes, Mataji.
Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami.
Yeah, okay. Translation and purport by His Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhuji. All glories to him. Translation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas from Brahma to the meanest insect. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Sudha Mataji, you want to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam. Purport. By dharma is meant the allocated functions of varna and ashrama. Varna and ashrama, manifested by the 20 dharma shastras on the authority of the Vedas. Of these two divisions, varna dharma is that function which is the outcome of the distinctive natures of the four varnas, is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and ashrama dharma is that function which is appropriate to the respective ashramas or stations of those who belong to the four stages with brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. All customary activities of mankind have been targeted in these twofold divisions. Sins means nescience, the root of all sins and sinful desire. Also the greatest iniquities and sins flowing from them, and the ordinary sins, that is all sorts of unprincipled conduct. The category of the Shrutis means Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, and the Upanishads, which form the crest jewels of the Veda. The tapas mean all regular practices that are learned with a view of the attainment of the proper function of the self. In many cases, example, in the form known as pancha tapas, these practices are of a difficult character, yoga, with its 8 constituent limbs and devotedness to the knowledge of the undifferentiated Brahman, undifferentiated Brahman are included therein. All these are so many distinctive features within the revolving round of the fruitive activities of conditioned souls. The conditioned souls
Mataji,
are...
somebody else can read. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Anybody wants to read the other part? Hare Krishna.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Actually from there, Mataji. Sorry.
From here, I'll highlight it. Yeah, from here, Mataji.
The conditioned souls are embarked on a sojourn of successive births from 84 lakhs of varieties of generating organs. They are differentiated into different orders of beings as Devas, Danavas, Danavas, Rakshasas, Manavas, Nagas, Manavas, Nagas, Kinnaras, and Gandharvas. These jivas from Brahma down to the small insect are infinite in type. They make up the aggregate of the conditioned souls from the degree of Brahma to that of the little fly and are the distinctive features within the revolving wheels of karma. Every one of them is endowed with distinctive powers as individuals and is powerful in a particular sphere. But these powers are by their nature not fully developed in them. The degree of power and nature of property vary according to the measure of manifestation of the possessions of the individual conferred upon him by Sri Govinda. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, I heard a translation again. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest of insect. I'll just start with few things, then probably Prabhu can, if he joins, he will come. You're there? Okay. Okay, we finished reading the translation and purport, so you can go ahead with the description.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Hare Krishna to all the devotees. At the outset, sorry that it got a little delayed. So there was a small meeting that was going on in the temple, so I couldn't come out. Apologies for that. But meanwhile, anyway, I think we were able to go through the shloka. So Hare Krishna, Hari Bol for that. So today we are looking at verse 56. I hope my voice is okay. Audio, video, everything is all right. You're able to hear me. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Pradha. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I could see the thumbs up. Thank you. So, verse 56. Dharmo tapapa nichaya shrutayastapansi brahmadikita pataga vadayascha jiva yaddattamatra vibhava prakata prabhava govindamati purusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. So, this particular verse from the Brahma Samhita, of course, is very important because it is giving the position, or it is further defining the position of the Lord with respect to the creation, with respect to the various aspects that we see. So we'll try to discuss on that. In fact, we all know that everything is coming from Lord Krishna. So any idea, any endeavor that an individual is making, or any effort that is put in by us, or any planning that is being done by us, that is all the basic, the source of that is Krishna. So the potency that is there in us to do a certain thing in terms of an activity, in terms of an endeavor, in terms of an idea, or any of those things, that potency is actually, nothing is ours. It is coming from Krishna. And this is the sum and essence of that. So we'll try to discuss more on that and then see what Brahma ji is saying in this particular verse. So before that, the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim YatkripatamahamVande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So if you look at what Brahmaji is saying, it kind of resonates with a particular shloka from the Bhagavad Gita, which we will take, and then we'll see what is being told by Krishna himself there. So what is Krishna saying there? Krishna is saying in 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So here Krishna is saying, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. So, in the purport also, Prabhupada goes on and then explains how everything is coming from Krishna, and then he is taking the reference of various Upanishads, like the Narayana Upanishad, where it is said, Ata Purusho Havai Narayano Akama Yatha Praja Srijayate. And then there is other Upanishads also. I mean, even in the Narayana Upanishad, it continues, Narayanad Brahma Jayate, Narayanad Prajapati Prajayate, Narayanad Indro Jayate, Narayanad Ashtau Vasavo Jayate, Narayanad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayanad Bhadasadityaha. So like this, it is said that from Narayana, Brahma is born. From Narayana, the patriarchs are born. From Narayana, Indra is born. And then the 11 Rudras are born from Narayana. The 8 Vasus are born from Narayana. And then the 12 Adityas are born from Narayana. So this whole explanation is there in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, on how Krishna is the source, and from Krishna, then the expansions, and then you have Narayana, and from Narayana, then expansion. So we have this concept of expansions and expansion of the expansion. So the potency gets passed on, or it flows through that particular expansion or expansion of the expansion, and then finally it is manifested in the material world in various ways. So now Brahma is seeing, or he's trying to say, how these potencies are manifested, where all it is manifested is what is being seen, and this shloka is giving this. So we can say that the omnipotency of the Lord is explained in detail in this particular shloka. So omnipotent means, so we know that Krishna is omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. So it's the definition. Even in the Western people also have a similar, I mean, that's a definition that we are borrowing from there, where they say that the Lord is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. So omniscient means he knows everything. Omnipresent means he is present everywhere. So we know how he is present everywhere. We know how he is aware of things because of Shirodaka Sai Vishnu, expansion that goes into every heart. So he knows what is going on in the world, and then what is going on in the hearts of every entity, including the insect. And now the third aspect of omnipotency, which means that any strength or any potency that is there, it is coming from Krishna. So that is why, from one perspective, the Lord is omnipotent, because his potency is what is making this world go around in that sense. Okay. So he is the source of everything. So we know that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadaradar Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. So for every karana, or for every activity, or for everything, every cause, he is the primary cause. So that is what we are seeing. So now, in fact, in one of the lectures that I was listening to, the Acharya was explaining how any potency that we see in anyone, it has to be understood that it is coming from the Lord. And that is the aspect that has to be driven down. And then he was also saying that, is it necessary for us to go into so much of detail? I mean, is it not enough that we know that, okay, he is everything comes from him, that's enough for me? No, everything comes from him is enough for me to one extent. But then if one has to really make an attempt to know a little bit in detail about the Lord, then it is nice to get into these details. Because if we have to love somebody, then we'll have to know that individual. Like, is it enough? Are we satisfied by just saying that, okay, I love my mother because she is very sacrificing, or she takes care of us, or she is very she's always willing to give up. Now, what is the detail into which if one is dwelling into the details into which into the aspect of sacrificing, then that makes that whole relationship that much more sweeter, and then it makes that relationship that much more meaningful, and then the interactions will become that much more fulfilling for both the mother as well as for the child. So the like they say, the essence is in the detail. So from that perspective, we will have to know some details about how the Lord is omnipotent, and then where all his energies are distributed, how he is omniscient, so that we will be able to appreciate the aspect of how the Lord is so merciful that he is able to, he gives the potency, and then he also allows the individual to take the credit for that potency or for that display. If you look at Bhagavad Gita, I am the strength of the strong. There are so many instances where he is talking about all of this. And then that strength, when you see, so in that shloka also, Prabhupada says, if you see somebody who's displaying wonderful strength, you need to immediately be able to link to Krishna. And that's one of the ways by which we can remain in Krishna consciousness. It started off by saying, I'm the taste in water. And then he says, I'm the strength of the strong, and so on and so forth. So there are so many analogies or similes that are told by Krishna to help us understand how the Lord is involved in everything, or he is there in everything, or he is present in everything. He is the potency in every activity that is happening. So in fact, even in the previous shloka of the Brahma Samhita, which you all saw yesterday, we saw the same thing. I mean, there's the example of the sun, where how the potency of the sun is coming from the Lord was highlighted. Likewise, in the earlier shlokas also, the potency of Lord Brahma, so whereby he was able to create, whereby he became a secondary creator, because the primary creator was the Lord, and then he also gave him the knowledge. So look at the position of the Lord. Like, the Lord created the raw materials, then he created Brahmaji, and then he gave him the intelligence, the potency, the know-how to create secondary things out of the raw materials that he gave. And then he allows him to take credit, in the sense like, yes, Brahma is the creator, so we all know. So like that, the Lord is very merciful is an aspect that will come out as we discuss further. So now, what is it this shloka is trying to say? It is talking about 4 or 5 things. Let me just, we'll just try to go over it one by one, okay? So the first one is dharma. So dharmota papa nichaya shrutayas tapamsi. So now dharma, and then papa nichaya. So what is dharma? It is virtue. Then papa nichaya, that means all vices. So that means virtue, and then the wise as in sins. And then shrutaya, that means the Veda, shruti, that means the Vedas. Tapamsi, tapas, that is penances, are all these 4, if you categorize them together: dharma, virtue, vices, Vedas, and tapas. And then also the jivas. And then the jivas, it is talking about not just human beings or anything like that. It is all inclusive, right from Lord Brahma to Kita Pataga. What is Kita Pataga? It's an insignificant insect, very small insect. So right from Lord Brahma to the insect that is there, all of them have living entities, we know. I mean, all of them are living entities, and they have a jiva or a soul in them. So now this is the all-inclusive nature. So where every jiva, so all these 5 things, what is happening? It is the Lord's potency that is manifesting in them as their own potency. That's what is being told here. So now let's try to understand each one, and that way then it'll help us to understand this particular shloka better. So in if you look at dharma, then you know we have to understand, or we all can understand, that if one has to be dharmic or one has to have some virtues, it needs strength. Correct? It's not easy to not tell a lie. It is not easy to speak only the truth. It is not easy to maintain cleanliness. Even if you look at the regular virtues that are there in an individual, tolerance, it needs a lot of effort. It needs a lot of strength, an inner strength that is needed. So where is that inner strength coming from? That is coming from the Lord. So this is one way of looking at it. Then if you look at the aspect of sin, that is papa nichaya. So now papa means like to do one sin, for a person to do a sin, also there has to be some strength. Otherwise, it is not possible. They have to have that. So here in the shloka, it is said, not only virtue, even sins, or the aspect of, or the component of strength is there in that. We have to understand that. Firstly, there is some strength that is needed. Some, like in English, they say, you need to have guts to do some wrong. So that gut, or that strength that is needed. So for that also is supported by the Lord. Now, why he supports that? Is it correct, wrong? We will move on and then discuss further. Okay, and then of course to do tapas. Now, austerity, tapas, it needs a lot of willpower. So this inner strength, the potency or the manifested potency of tapasya, the unmanifested potency is coming for that from the Lord only, and it manifests in an individual, in the jivas. So, and then of course the Shruti mantras. Now the Shruti mantras again, we know that there is a lot of potency in the mantras, and then there is an inherent. If we chant the Vedas, then there is this inherent potency of Krishna that can be felt. Anybody, when there is a lot of chanting going on, Shrutis or mantras are being recited, then there is some amount of potency that everybody feels there. I'm just talking at a very practical level, without going into technicality. Even that particular potency is there in the mantras or in the Shruti mantras, because the Lord has backed it up by his potency. Like another example for Krishna consciousness, for all of us in ISKCON, what we discuss, we say, is the Lord's energy, or the Lord, the energies of the Lord is not different from the Lord. And then we also go on and then say how the same potency. In fact, Krishna's potency is there in the name Krishna also, in the leelas of Krishna, and so on and so forth. So like this, anything associated with the Lord, his potency, he fills it up with his potency. In the same way, the Shruti mantras also are having his potency. So and then what are the next one is the living entities. So living entities, of course, we know that we all have certain potency. We have potencies means strengths or ability to do a certain thing. Now, this particular ability and strength that is there is again put in by the Lord. And then there it is said, from Brahma to even the smallest insect, each one have a potency which is in varying degree. So we understand that. So because they vary in quantity, and then they also vary in the type. Like the potency that is there in Brahma is much, much higher than the potency that is existing in a small kita or a small insect. So, and then all the rest are in between. So all of us fall in between, or an animal like a tiger, a ferocious animal like a lion, or anything. All of the living entities that are there, they all have potencies which is varying in type, and also it varies in matra. In matra means quantity. Yaddata matra vibhava prakata prabhava. That's the line we are explaining here. Yaddatta, that means what? What is yaddatta? Yad means by whom. Datta means conferred. Who is conferring, it is conferring these things. In what way is conferring? in matra, that means exclusively, or there is some discrimination. It is not like everybody is given the same power. There is some variation in that. So matra, vibhava, what is being discriminated? The power itself, that is vibhava. And prakata means prakata, vibhava prakata, that means manifested power. It is given in different forms and then in different quantities to all these individuals. So the whole sum and substance is that the jivas, based on the bodies that they occupy, they have been given a certain amount of potency in them. And that potency, the root of that potency is the Lord. It is all coming from the Lord and it is not coming from anywhere else. So in this way, we can understand this particular shloka. And then the concluding line which says, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. So such a Lord who is conferring the potencies that are seen in virtue, in sins, or in papa, and then those potencies that are seen in the Shruti mantras, the potencies that are seen in the tapas of an individual, and the potency that is seen in the activities of the various jivas, right from Lord Brahma to the meanest of the insects. All of those potencies are backed by the Lord, or the potency that is there is given by the Lord to these based on certain things. So this is what is there. And then it says like, whoever is conferring it in this way, such a divine Lord, supreme Lord, I pay my obeisances to him. That is what Brahma is saying in this particular shloka. Now somebody might ask, I just said that every individual is being given a certain type of potency, which is varying in quality as well as in quantity. So somebody might ask, why is the Lord so partial? That's the first thing, because elsewhere we have seen that the Lord is not samoham sarvabhuteshu. I am not partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. So that shloka and then this, it looks like it is contradictory. But we all know the answer, that that is not how it is to be viewed, because this entire thing is based on our karma, or on our desire and on what we deserve. So based on that, the potencies are all given to that particular individual. So if I'm taking a birth as a dog because of my desire, or I deserve to be a dog because of my karma, then the potencies that are relevant to the dog is given, so that I'll be able to go through that process of being in a dog body and then fulfill those desires and then move out from there. So in this way, actually, the Lord is helping based on the desire and based on what we deserve, he is giving. So in this way, he is not partial, but he is equal. If somebody is not desiring something so lowly as that, or his desires are transcendental in nature, then that individual gets a suitable body, which will take care of that particular desire the moment he or she becomes qualified. So that is what is liberation. The moment we qualify ourselves for liberation, because we have a strong desire not to be born again, we don't want this janma mrityu jara vyadhi. All of this is something that we'll have to go through if we remain here. So we make up our mind, okay, I don't want to be here. And then, so the desire is there, and then it becomes stronger and stronger. And then we have to qualify ourselves by doing austerities, by carrying out devotional service, by cultivating certain virtues, by cultivating certain qualities within us, and so on and so forth. The moment what we desire and what we deserve is meeting the expectation of the Lord, then immediately we are able to move over to liberation. And then from there, then it's another story altogether. So like this, the Lord is actually merciful. So it's not that he's partial. So we can reconcile this particular thing. And then if you look at the purport, what is being told in the purport? It's talking about dharma. And then in dharma, of course, there are two types of dharma. Variations of dharma is there. So the jiva comes down to this material world. We know that. We have come down here because of our own will. Now that we are here, there are certain rules that are made and then given to us so that it will facilitate our going back. So these rules are called as dharma shastras. So it's like the school. Then you're put in a certain class based on your age and your capability. And then you're given a syllabus or a curriculum. And then you have to learn that. And then you have to follow the rules of that particular school. And then you will be able to go to the next class. If you are successful in that particular class, then you move to the next over a period of time. This is 1 year in this case. Then you move to the next. And then there also you accept the syllabus and the curriculum, the new one. And then you master that, understand that, and then you do well in the exam. Then again, you move on to the next. So likewise, we have something called as the Varna and then the Ashrama Dharma, which is being explained in this particular purport, where the living entities are put in a certain category, in a certain Varna or in a certain ashram, based on their quality, their gunas, and then they are given a certain set of rules to follow. So if they do well there, then they move on to the next. And that is how this whole Varnashrama came about. And Varnashrama is something that is not man-made, it is ordained by the Lord. So Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishtam, Krishna himself has said in Bhagavad Gita. So Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So based on the gunas, this Vibhaga is made. So this is something that Krishna has said, or he has told how this thing came about. And then we also understand from the Acharyas that this Varnashrama is a progressive setup. It is like a school or a college or a boarding school is a progressive setup. You go to one class, it doesn't mean that you remain in that class. Then you have to move on. That's the purpose of the school. So you keep moving from one class to the next, and then finally come out of the school, the boarding school. So like that, here also, you're put in a Varnashrama, not because you'll be there or you're branded and then all your life you'll continue as a particular class or a particular section or a particular Varna, you're there and then that's it. It is done. No, it's not like that. It is giving us an opportunity to progress up. And that is why the kings were there, the Brahmanas were there, the intellectual class, and then the ruling class, to ensure that people followed their Varnas and their ashramas so that they will gradually progress. So they are like the class teachers and the what do you call that? The authorities who are ensuring the progress of the individual. And then, of course, the principle is you can equate them to the Supreme Lord. So in this way, he ensures that everything is going on smoothly and required directions are given to the people, the authorities who are responsible for the progress of the children. In the same way, the king was responsible for the progress of his praja or of his subjects, and he ruled in that way. And that was what was called as, that's why they were called as Rajarishis, and then the rule was Ram Rajya, because they were all aligned in a way that they could move up. Now, this particular aspect of dharma, which we are talking about, is the potency that is there, the potency to move up, the potency to follow a certain thing and then move up. That is the potency. Who's giving it? Krishna is giving it. So likewise now, in a boarding school, like if I have to take that same example further, in a boarding school, then you have detention rooms, then you have Hall of Fame and all that. So an individual might be put into a detention room because he or she made some mistake or they didn't behave well. But then that doesn't mean that the Hall of Fame is denied to that person. And then if subsequently that person is doing well and then bringing some glory to the school or whatever it is, if they are following the rules of that particular thing, the conduct is good, then they are put in the Hall of Fame or they are recognized. So there is this rewards and recognition, as well as there is also punishment that is there. So all of it go hand in hand. Even in an institution which is trying to uplift the children and then make them better individuals, you have this rewards and punishment. In the same way, the aspect that we have been put here in the material world is like a school for us or a jail. Some of it compare it to that. So where we are being punished, and also we are punished for, and also reformation is happening. So this particular aspect of dharma and dharma shastra or dharma is all the rules that are there, which we are supposed to know and then follow. And now Krishna's potency is in that. And so by following those rules, we'll automatically elevate. By being virtuous, we automatically elevate. By being by doing activities in that particular virtuous mode, like not speaking a lie, going about living our life in that way, being friendly to everybody, not getting angry or shouting at somebody, not putting somebody into inconvenience, himsa, not doing himsa, but then following ahimsa. So like this, these rules are all followed, and then the potency is already in them, so we naturally progress. So this is what is the conclusion. And then likewise, now we come to the next slightly confusing thing about the vice. Vices means what? They are actually sins. And sins are also actually actions only. But these actions are covered by ignorance. So sin means nascence in the purport you can see, or ignorance. And now nascence is the root cause of all our sins. Now sin is actually activity done in ignorance. So we are talking about activity. And we are talking about activity in ignorance. Then also there is potency that is needed. There has to be some strength to do that sin. So that is also coming from Krishna. So why he is giving that? Because that particular soul or that living entity wanted or desired to be in a certain condition to enjoy a certain type of pleasure, which is given to that particular individual under those circumstances. But then that person will have to suffer later on for the wrong or for the sin that they have committed. So it is like the sin is committed because you want to do it, and then you will have to also repent for it. You will have to be punished for it. You will have to go through that process of punishment, which is actually to bring about a reformation. So this is something that we can understand with the maturity that is needed, and that maturity is again something, the intelligence that is given by the Lord. So I am the intelligence in the intelligent, Krishna says. So we'll have to pray to the Lord that we understand these things and not end up taking the wrong end of the stick, so to speak. And likewise, then we'll have to pray to the Lord to help us navigate ourselves through these seemingly contradictory things so that we are able to understand the Lord. And then our attachment to the Lord increases, our love to the Lord increases, or our praise, our love in Shantaras or any of the rest, so admiration to the Lord increases, which is a positive step for our progress. In fact, even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about Savai Pumsa Paro Dharma. So what is the highest dharma of everybody? That is Yatho Bhaktir Adhokshaje. So bhakti for the Adhokshaja is the Paro Dharma, means the highest dharma. And then Swanishtutasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshana, and that is to please the Lord. All this we do. Why do we do Bhakti Yoga? Or why we do Ahaituki Bhakti without any attachment or without any cause? That is only to please the Lord and nothing else. So if it pleases the Lord, that means then that is Dharma. Anything that is displeasing the Lord is a Dharma. So at a very high level, it can be classified into two. So anything that pleases the Lord is dharma, that is not pleasing the Lord is a dharma. And now the strength or the potency needed for both is being given by Krishna, because Krishna is so benevolent and so grateful and so generous that he gives whatever we desire, but then we will have to pay for it if it's not desired properly. So this is the sum and essence of how the potencies that are there and how the whole world is working. That is what we are seeing here. And then it also talks about dharma, which is being the rules that are given by the Lord. See, dharma is a word that is used as a virtue, and also it is the potency that is needed to follow that virtue. So what is the potency or the strength that is needed to follow the virtue, and the potency or the effort that is needed to remain truthful, or like I said before. So all of this together becomes that the word dharma is used in an inclusive way. Collectively, all of that becomes dharma. So dharma is the inherent quality of the living entity, and also the activities he or she does because of that inherent quality. So now, based on the nature, there are some actions are given, and hence nature and action together is called as dharma. And then all these are addressed in the varnashrama system. Okay, so this is like I was talking about the classes. So one lifetime is one class. So they progress from there to the next, to the next, to the next. So it was a slow grinding process. Slowly there was reformation. Slowly there was purification. Parallelly there was fulfillment of desires. So that is why they say dharma, artha, kama, and then moksha. So dharma, artha, kama. So there is also fulfillment of desires, and at the same time there is also a progress towards moksha. But this is a very slow process, because how many generations we will need? Every desire I have, one generation, one lifetime I have to take. Oh my God, that's very slow. So what happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and then he gave us a completely different means of going up, and that is the lift. So he gave us the lift, the express lift, so to speak. Otherwise, this was like the staircase, one step at a time. Okay, I move to this step, then I take a pause, then the next step, then the next, and then I hit a floor, and then the next floor, and so on and so forth. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and then he removed all this system, no stepwise. Get into the lift, press the floor where you want to go, the topmost floor, and then the lift will take you there. The door opens, and you're on that floor. And that is by the Harinam Sankirtan, by chanting Hare Krishna. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting this, it's like we are taking the lift, and then we reach the top. So this is how he gave more potency, or he filled the name with so much of potency that it will lift us, it will elevate us in a way that we straight away go and then land up there. So that's the type of potency that he has put for his name. And then if you look at the Shruti mantras, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, what was that shloka? It says 15.15, Vedaisya sarvam aham, okay, sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha Vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So what does that mean? It says that I am the Vedas, and I am to be known by the Vedas. So if you have to understand Krishna, we have to refer for the what is given in the Vedas, and Krishna himself is the Vedas, and the end of all Vedas is he himself. That means if you have understood Vedas, then you will reach Krishna. So you'll reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the whole Vedas is given so that you can understand Krishna or go back to Krishna. If you know Krishna and then you are in the Krishna conscious state, then you'll go back to Krishna. So that is why this particular shloka is talking about that. So we can understand from this that there is some amount of potency that is put in the Shruti mantras and in the Vedas or the Vedic mantras. So that potency is also confirmed by the Lord, conferred, sorry, not confirmed, it is conferred by the Lord, so that the Vedas have the potency to take you to Krishna. And likewise, I said before also, the name, the leelas and all that, everything has the potency of the Lord. So dharma moolam hi Bhagavan. So he is the root of all religious principles. And if we don't follow this particular thing, then if we do activities which are not aligned to the way that we just spoke now, or we are not even conscious of this particular thing, then it is like a waste of time. Then it becomes like an activity that is done to please myself, to please my body, to fulfill the desires of my body, and so on and so forth. So which is termed as Shrama eva hi kevalam by Srimad Bhagavatam. Because in that particular shloka, it is said that if we don't do any of these activities, then it is as good as having wasted your effort. Wasted effort, they say, no? Shrama eva hi kevalam. So it's a wasted effort. So there's no point in doing it. You might have not as well done that. And then on the contrary, it gives negative reactions also, because it is not just that it is at zero, it will pull you down. It will go into a negative thing, because you did work which was actually based on your wish or desires, and thereby you ended up hurting somebody, you ended up lying or cheating to somebody, or you shouted it at somebody. So you lost out those virtues, and then you caught on to vices. But then that vice also you did it because you desired it, and then that particular potency also, as Krishna is being told here. So now what we can understand is that dharma is consciousness as well as activity, because it says it is a virtue, or it is a intrinsic nature of that individual, as well as it is the activity. Like, how do we relate to this or reconcile this? We take this example of love. Love means what? It is a feeling, of course, but it is also action, right? Only then it is more fulfilling. If there is love, then there has to be some action, some interaction, so to speak. If there is no action, then it is not complete, the love. It's just the feeling is not okay. So likewise, even in Krishna consciousness, the same examples Acharyas use. Being conscious of Krishna and then not doing any activity is only half. It is not complete. So when you're conscious of the supremeness of the Lord, when you're conscious of his qualities, then there has to be some activity, because you'll be grateful, because we will realize that we are conscious of Krishna, we realize that we exist because of him, and then we don't do any action. It means we are not expressing our gratitude, we are not expressing our love, we are not expressing any of these things by way of action. Then it is half, it is incomplete, it is complete only to that extent. So which is not Purnam, or which is not the right thing to do. So in this way, action is also very important. Activity becomes duty in the beginning stages, because we don't have love. So we are duty bound, or we are the sadhana bhakti that we are talking about. There is activity there, but then that activity is not doubled up by the right emotion or feeling. But then there is this feeling of reverence, so we just don't want to displease him, so we just do it like that, out of fear and all that. So which is also good, but then we need to have both. And then as it becomes better and better, that fear or that thing gets converted into love. And when it becomes love, then it moves on to, it no longer remains a sadhana, it moves on to raganuga, and from raganuga it moves on to bhava, or even prema, and so on and so forth. So that particular ladder also is getting aligned, or we can reconcile like this, how activities become important when there is love. In the same way, dharma means our nature as well as our actions together. And then we will also know that we will be able to move up this particular ladder only with knowledge, and that knowledge is the Shruti mantras, or the things that are given there. And that knowledge also is there in 3 stages actually. So what are these 3 stages? One is like acquired knowledge. So today we know I'm not this body, and then Narayana, just now I read that, where everything, the origin is Narayana. So it is just acquired knowledge. We read it somewhere, and then we know that that's how it is. Then the realization of the knowledge is little more maturity, or we understand how we are able to experience that particular thing because of various instances that happen, because we are able to hear about certain things, and then we realize it with our intelligence, we are able to realize and understand that particular acquired knowledge. So it becomes realized knowledge. And revealed knowledge is even higher than that, which is like actually in the heart, it gets revealed of a pure devotee who's practicing it, where the Lord reveals that particular, gives him further understanding, and that becomes revealed knowledge. And in this way, it's a progression that we are all making. Today, we might only have acquired knowledge and a little bit of realization, but then we are in the right path. So we continue with what we have to do with conviction, with what do you call Shraddha, faith, conviction. Thereby, we will keep moving. We are in the Anartha Nivritti stage. Then there is this other stages, which is talking about Nishtha, and then Asakti, then Ruchi, and then Bhava, and then Prema. All of this is refinement of our consciousness, and then our ignorance is being removed further and further, and then our knowledge also, from acquired it is becoming realized, and from realized it is becoming revealed. So in this way, the progress happens for us, and this is all because of the mercy of the Lord, because of the potency of the Lord, and that is an underlying thing that we should never forget. And we should also not forget that any potency that we see, any progress anybody is making, or anything, it is having the Lord's sanction. So complete surrender to the Lord and to the wish of the Lord is what is being prompted by such understanding. And that surrender means then the Lord is more happy, because he says very clearly in the 12th chapter that somebody who is more surrendered to me is very dear to me. So we become nearer and dearer to the Lord in this fashion. So most of it is in the mind. Just put that all across, and then try to reconcile this dharma, papa, nichaya, shrutayas, and tapas, shruti and tapas, and also all the living entities. So this verse is talking about how the manifested potency in all of these entities and these aspects, the potency behind that is Krishna's potency and nothing else. So that's the bottom line. I'll stop here. If there are any questions or any comments on what we discussed today, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can complete the session for today. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And then was pronounced to all the Vaishnavas who are here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandat Pranams, Prabhuji.
Then was pronounced, Mataji.
Prabhuji, with your permission, I'm just ending this session, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, we'll do Vaishnava pranams here. Pancha kalpatru. Kripa sindhu cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki
Krishna,
jai.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.